Welcome to the Look Good, Move Well podcast.
Satya, are you particularly cold right now?
A little bit, but I have constant temperature fluctuations.
You're looking very bundled at the moment.
Yeah. All night long, I just go wildly between have 4 blankets on me and then throwing them all off. And then I have a little fan that I just blast myself with.
Love that.
Back and forth 4 or 5 times every night.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Love that for me.
I love that for you. That's great. I was cold, and then I came upstairs and I just raided our merchandise bins and grabbed a hoodie and a hat.
You put together a good fit.
Thank you. Yeah, I got a little FBB orange on my shoes and on my hat and on my hoodie. We're good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last week we talked about all the 2025 lessons that we encountered in health and fitness, and we had the intention of talking about things that we're wanting to focus on and learn or refine in 2026. However, we didn't really time manage perfectly. That's on me. But so this week, we're going to look at things that we're going to focus on, what we want to learn and perhaps refine in 2026 in fitness. And you have your list. I have my list. So why don't we start with you? And why don't you launch into number 1 on your list?
All right. Number 1 for me is that I have been training now for a long time. And I've always been someone who enjoys the process of getting better at little things and having little things to work on. And I think this year I've just arrived at a place where I don't really know what is motivating me to train right now. And I'm still doing it and showing up and enjoying my sessions. But the thing that I want to learn is how to continue into, I would say, advanced training ages when you've kind of been there, done that in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Gosh. I can resonate with that too. It's been on a bit of a kick of trying to just really refine how much training and intensity is required. What's the minimum effective dose, and be efficient with things. And then it's at some point, it's if you're just always trying to optimize for efficiency and minimum effective dose, then it becomes less about oh, this is just a thing that you're checking a box on so that you can get to doing other things in your life. And I'm well, I'm somebody who's actually loved the training journey for a long time. And that's been it's been a hobby. It's been an outlet for me. So it's oh, well, what's going to get me excited if I'm just always focused on what's minimum effective dose? How do I do that this year? And yeah, it's definitely something I'm carving out space to think about, at least. And I've got some ideas for sure, but I do see each of these new chapters, age chapters, is all right, well, I want to figure out what I'm capable of at this new phase of my life. It might not look like it did before, but what can it look like?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this is kind of maybe appropriate for this segue. For me, how am I going to continue to learn and refine what dosing intensity looks like for midlife or older athletes? It's so interesting. We talk so much about intensity, but most of my understanding of intensity was determined in my 20s. I learned proper training intensity. I learned it when I was a teenager a little bit. I learned it in my early 20s somewhat. But then it was mid to late 20s and early 30s. That's where I really set my benchmark for what training intensity feels like. And it's not a static thing. It's not this is what intensity looks and feels like for everybody forever. At least I'm starting to question that. It's oh, well, maybe how hard I pushed myself back then obviously I can't push myself as hard as I did back then in terms of total amount of time in the gym, frequency, volume, etc. But like if I just look at the hardest set of back squats I did at age 29, does that type of hard, is my sets of back squats supposed to feel like that at 41? Like I'm talking just like rep for rep, like is that something that changes? Like what is that intensity dose? You know, it's like going to absolute failure. What does that feel like at different ages? And then how much of that is really the right dose? That's what I'm kind of very curious about.
Super interesting. I don't ever hear anyone talk about that.
I'm talking about it.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, cool. Okay, what do you got? What's next?
Next for me is, and this is where my marketing and fitness brains converge, but how do I continue to make what I know is very helpful information about fitness that I've learned, and nuanced information sometimes, how do I continue to make that ever more clear and accessible for more and more people?
Can you give like any specific examples that you're thinking about right now?
I always use my best friend as a litmus test because she's totally not a fitness person at all. And she was just talking to me yesterday and she's like, yeah, like I want to work on losing some weight. And she's asked me so many questions about nutrition and fitness and what you have to do. And she's still not quite getting the nuance. Like, you know, and part of it is just her kind of resistance to things. And she's like, oh yeah, like, you know, you told me to get a scale. I got a scale. I didn't actually use the scale. But so it's like, but she's starting to get that like, oh yeah, I realized that like the nuts that I was having in my oatmeal were like my entire calories for the day. You know, things are starting to click for her. And so I just always put what I've learned about fitness and nutrition up against what someone who's totally outside that world is experiencing alongside all of the other conflicting messaging out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can I make this more clear? How can I make this more accessible? How can I make this more doable? How can I make people have more ways to see the same thing in a way that makes them have a light bulb moment?
Yeah. Take some action, actually. Yeah. That's so, yeah. I guess maybe along the similar lines, I'm thinking about in 2026, and I kind of closed out our last podcast with a mention of this, but I think more than ever, it's important to address like one of the misconceptions about fitness, or maybe it's not even a misconception. It's more of a like a culturally driven narrative that like fitness equals normal to lighter body weight. Like I am fit if I just lose weight and I look better in my clothes. Regardless of what the body looks like underneath the clothes or what the, you know, how it functions. It's just like, if I just look skinnier, I'm better shape. I'm fitter. And that most people, I think truthfully, a lot of people just came to the gym to get skinnier. And they would have totally skipped the gym. They would have bypassed the whole health and fitness thing if you just gave them a pill that got them skinnier. And for like the first 10, 15 years of my career, 15 years of my fitness coaching career, that pill didn't exist. And we were just like, hey, guess what? Like, there's no pill. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. And guess what? There's pretty much a pill now. Right now, there's a an injection that people can take.
No, the pill just came out.
And it just, it's not as widespread, but it's like, there's a lot of people using this. And there's a lot of people that are using it who didn't have 50 pounds to lose or 100 pounds to lose. They had 20 pounds of body fat to lose, but they probably had 5 to 10 pounds of muscle to gain that they needed to gain to really feel fit. It's like, but that narrative is just not there. It hasn't been there for a long time. It's like being strong is like, it just hasn't been sold as well as being skinny. The marketing department in the strength world is not even in the same ballpark as the skinny marketing department. Mm-hmm. And, transparently, like I know why a lot of fitness professionals and people in the fitness industry are, I don't know if it's like nervous or really like negatively, like outspoken negatively about weight loss drugs, is because they recognize it's a threat to their livelihood. When if like 9 out of 10 people that show up at the gym would happily trade an injection or a pill for whatever the work that they might need to do in order to get strong and fit and lose weight a different way, like they're going to take that now. Many of them are. What I know is that there's going to be a lot of people that take that, and of the portion of people that take that option, some are going to be perfectly satisfied with the results that they get. There's going to be a growing population of people who are dissatisfied with the results that they get because they're going to lose weight. They're going to now be skinny, weak, like low appetite, low enjoyment of pleasurable things. They're going to have very low capacity to do physical things. And if they hold that or keep that up rather for years and years, like they're going to be very unhealthy. And a lot of those people are going to not like the way they look when they lose a bunch of weight. They're going to lose a bunch of weight. They're going to be skinny, like skinny fat. Like they're just not going to have muscle tone. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I need to go to the gym and get strong now. And unfortunately, they just lost 5 to 10 pounds of their own muscle that they're going to have a hard time getting back. So it's just something that I'm very aware is important. It's going to be, it's happened so fast. Like 2025 was like, I should look up the numbers on this, but like what percentage of the US population at the beginning of 25 was on Ozempic or tirzepatide, and then what percentage is now? I imagine it has grown dramatically.
Yeah. I can't remember the stat on this, but it's either 1 in 4 or 1 in 8 people either is on one or knows someone who's on one.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot.
Yes, a lot.
I looked at the stat and I was like, wow, everybody's on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in certain groups of people, in certain circles, it's like, you'll talk to somebody like, I went to dinner the other night and with like 8 people and I was the only one that was not on one of these drugs or something like that. It's like it depending on what part of the country you're in, what your socioeconomic, class is. Like you may be in circles where literally it feels like everybody you know.
Yeah.
And are they doing it with what's, I don't know. I've even said like, are they doing it responsibly? But it's like, well, I'm under medical supervision. It's like, okay, but are you eating enough protein? Like, are you training? Like, have you actually learned habits on how to like build good nutrition and good lifestyle practices and good exercise practices? Or are you okay with just being on this particular drug for the rest of your life? Like, is it something that you want? There's the side effects are not nothing. Like people who are losing weight, they feel nauseous multiple times a week. They feel exhausted, 1 or 2 times a week, days, right? And there's things that don't work really well for it. But anyway, I'll leave it there to just say this is an area that is going to demand and require a lot of attention nationally, globally, but certainly for me and my focus as a coach.
Yeah. All right. This is my last one.
Oh, that's good.
I feel like I have a good handle on how to strength train regularly and keep that a focus. I feel like I have gotten my walking to the place where I'm moving a lot throughout the day and it feels like second nature. And I want to get my cardio in the same way for health purposes this year. And that's something that I haven't really figured out how to work into my routine. It's like I could make that happen, but then I feel like I'm sacrificing somewhere else. And I'd like to learn how to get that to a place where it just feels like as inevitable as the other pieces of my fitness.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where I had that down listed as like one of mine. It's like, how do I individualize, conditioning without just defaulting back to HIIT cardio, or hard metcons. Like, we have great options and available tools, but it's like you said, it's like, love the resistance training portion of this. Like, that's the anchor. But how do I, because you used to do kind of the resistance train condition on every single session. Now you do 4 90-minute resistance training sessions a week. And it's like, okay, well, if I want to add conditioning back in, what do I have to sacrifice?
Exactly.
What can I put back, to put that back in?
Yeah.
And I'm in the same boat. It's like, oh, if I'm going to add conditioning work back in, it's like, I actually know the conversations I'm having over here with myself are like, okay, where am I going to put in some, zone 2 work? Where am I going to put in some more time running or more time rowing, and where am I going to have an opportunity to do like high intensity work if I want to do that, and how can I structure that so it doesn't take away from. So I've been kind of playing around with like, oh, what does a good resistance training day versus conditioning day combination look like? And I have a feeling it's going to, give rise to some interesting program options that will roll out and persist at some point. But it's definitely what I'm putting energy towards. And as your coach, I have some ideas for you. Yes, sick. All right, here's another big one for me. In the last several weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I have this client of mine, Shane. Shane, if you're listening, this is dedicated to you. He's a planner. He's the kind of guy that's got the journal, like the planner that's like, this is what I'm going to do today. This is my goal. Like those fancy, and he actually fills it out. He's the one that
he doesn't give up after 2 weeks.
No,
I do.
I don't even open it.
I'm the type of person that buys a fancy journal and starts it and then ditches it into.
No, I think he actually crushes all days. He might have a missing page here or there, but yeah. And so as we're coming up on the new year, he's like, yo, I'm trying to hone in on my 2026 fitness goals. Help me steer this thing. I got to have something written down before the first. And so we have kind of a loose back and forth on WhatsApp communication. And then a couple of days go by, and then it's he writes me back. He's like, hey, no pressure, but it's the 29th, and I don't know what I have to write into this book yet. And I'm like, okay, all right. So there is pressure here. I get you. I'm I hear you loud and clear. So I start going through and thinking about, we used to have these, hey, benchmark workouts. This is a good score. This is an average score. This is a score that needs improvement, very focused on performance metrics. And I was like, okay, well, I think performance metrics for midlife, I'm thinking obviously myself, a midlife man, what are good strength performance metrics? What are good cardiovascular performance metrics? How about flexibility? Okay, but that I always try to achieve that at the expense of, perhaps optimal health. And it's well, what does it look like to put the 6 most important blood markers on there? And then what is, good cardiovascular metrics from like resting heart rate to, VO2 max. Like, all right, so I'm kind of plotting all these things out and I'm like, okay, this is like, can I create a scorecard out of this? Like, and I was like, what does the platinum scorecard look like? That I would say like, this is platinum at, your 40-year-old male, like between 40 and 50. This is what a platinum scorecard looks like. Is you got to hit all these benchmarks. And it's like, you can't obviously like over index on one because it's going to take away from another. It kind of brings back some of those CrossFit vibes of like, you can't be too strong because then your cardio is going to be down. You can't be too good at running because then you're not going to be able to lift heavy enough weights. But then like, you can't be so all in on performance that you're like, body composition goes poorly, and then you can't be all in on body composition where your hormones tank, and it's like finding the right balance of it. So this is for someone who wants to not just, it's not just how you look, it's not just how you lift, and but it's like, how do you sleep? How do you recover? What do your blood markers look like? And yeah, just wanting to make this like very clear dashboard. And so I would say I'm 90% of the way there. I'm like defining what these things are. And it's interesting because I kind of was like, okay, this is what like top tier strength would look like. And this is what like top tier cardiovascular fitness or cardiorespiratory output would look like. And I did all this stuff and like, it was so clear to me. I was like, man, I'm like a 10 out of 10 in 6 of these departments, but there's this one that I'm not that good in right now. And it was just like, I was like, oh, it just scares me to think about like trying to get better at that, which is like a 2K row test and a 5K run test. And I was like, oh, like, it just looks hard. Like, I don't know if I want to do it, but it's a good way to highlight like, hey, where have I been missing on my list?
Okay, but we're well into January now, and
you're
only 90% done with the scorecard. How is his 2026 journal looking?
Well, for him, like I gave him his scorecard.
Okay.
Excuse me.
He's got something to go off of. Phew.
He's got something to go off of. But I also told him that like, look, he was like, that's a lot of things for me to track. Like I want to just have a couple.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're gonna work on your. So one of the categories is your fat-free mass index. Mm-hmm. So there's off the top of my head, I can't tell you what the calculation is, but there is a fat-free mass index where you plug in your height and your body weight and you'll get back a raw score where it's like your score could be 16 or it could be 18 or it could be 20. And like for natural athletes, like people who haven't used like steroids, like the highest fat-free mass index score that you can achieve naturally that's been like documented is like 24, 25. There's been a couple 26s, but if you get up close to 26, people are like, you must be on steroids. Because like bodybuilders who compete in drugged categories, they might be 28, 29, 30. But it's like, how much muscle mass, fat-free mass can you have on a frame at this height? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, if you're 5'10", and you're lean and you max it out, maybe you're getting to this much, but obviously like if you put me at 5'10" next to a bodybuilder who's using anabolic steroids at 5'10", like they're going to have 30 extra pounds that there's no way I can naturally get. And so their fat-free mass index is higher.
Yeah.
So for Shane, it was like, we're going to shoot for this fat-free mass index because he wants to put on some muscle this year. And then I'm also like, but we also are going to chase these strength metrics. And if we're getting stronger and you're putting on mass, like then we can be fairly confident that we're moving towards like his more ideal outcome for 2026.
Cool.
So yeah. And the strength metrics are like back squat, deadlift, weighted chin up, mm-hmm. weighted dip, max push-ups, things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun for all of us. And then I think Shane and some of those clients are going to all come out here in the summer and might be like a mid-year checkpoint. Be like, hey, how are we doing as we're progressing towards like these specific goals?
Yeah.
the platinum scorecard.
Yeah, fun.
Maybe we'll release that in the newsletter when we finalize it.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be a challenge for anybody out there that wants to go platinum.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, just looking at our time. I think we've hit most of everything that I was going to say here. Anything else come to mind for you?
No, I was just reflecting that for years when I was doing martial arts, my only New Year's resolution was to do another year of martial arts. And that worked for 17 years in a row. So I think it's like similar. It's like sometimes like just keep going, like is like kind of the only focus that that needs to be there in certain situations. Yeah. So I'm trying to learn new things in 2026 and also keep at it.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think in 2026, I am kind of entering the year thinking that, I don't know, I could be wrong on this, but there's this feeling I have right now that society, technology, industries, there's a speed at which things are changing and evolving and growing that feel unlike anything I've ever experienced before.
I feel that. Yeah.
And so maybe like 5 years ago, I'd like start the year and be like, okay, this is like what I'm going to be focused on for this year. And now I feel like it's like to say like I'm going to focus on something for a year as it maybe relates to like industry. I'm like, dude, I don't even know what might happen in 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, so whatever I'm saying today could totally shift.
We have a giant asterisk on everything right now.
For real.
Yeah.
Which is a little scary.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, what can we do? We can just take it, 1 month at a time. Is that safe? Is that safe? 1 hour, 1 minute,
one workout at a time.
One workout. I mean, meanwhile, like our entire county is absolutely flooded right now, and there's just chaos happening outside. It's just like I can hear the.
Marquez was just texting me. He's like, "I'm stuck at the gym. It's pouring."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have total monsoon rains happening out here. It seems like, and king tides, which really creates flooding situations. But yeah, 1 week, 1 month at a time. Those are our lessons that we're focused on in 2026. And I'm sure they'll be updated as we go. But we'd love to hear yours.
Yeah.
What are your biggest fitness lessons that you took in from 2025? And what are some things that you want to focus on in 2026 to learn more about? And how can we help and support that?
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.
See ya.